3:31 p.m. Okay, councilors, have you had a chance to look at the minutes from the last meeting?
Yes, ma'am.
Is there a motion for approval?
I move for approval of the minutes of the October 24th meeting of the Budget and Finance Committee.
Second.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
The meetings from last minute have been approved and passed. Next is consideration of the consent agenda. Councilors, do you have any items you'd like to place on consent?
I do, Madam Chair.
Madam President.
All right, I'd like to submit requests for the following items to be considered for consent. Items 4 and 5 on page 1. Item 6 on page 2. Items 7 and 9 on page 3. Item 15 on page 6. Item 21 on page 8. Items 22, 23, and 24 on page 9. Item 25 on page 10. That's it for me, thank you.
Okay, Council Abbott, do you have any items you'd like to place on consent?
Yes, ma'am, but since the president didn't want them on consent, I'll agree with her consent.
What was it I didn't want on consent?
Items 26 and 27.
I apologize, I just failed to call those out. Go ahead, call those.
Okay.
I'm not in disagreement.
Okay, we'll place 26 and 27 on
Thank
consent.
you.
Okay, I'm going to go through this. So items 4 and 5 on page 1. Item 6 on page 2. Items 7 and 9 on page 3. Then we go all the way to page 6, item 15. Then we'll go over to item 8, item 21, page 9, items 22, 23, 24. And then on page 10, items 25, 26, and 27. Is that correct?
Yes, thank you.
All right, Councilor Tate, are there any items you want placed on consent?
11 and 12.
11 and 12?
I want to hear.
I'd like to hear those.
You okay with us hearing them? Okay. All right. Has there been, I don't think there's been a motion. Is there a motion for approval?
I move for approval of the items for consent.
All in favor say aye. Aye. I abstain. Okay. First item is item number 8. Yeah, number 8. A resolution authorizing the mayor to issue on behalf of the city a firm commitment to allocate $250,000 in local grant match in support of a $10 million rail infrastructure and safety improvements planning grant application to the Federal Railroad Administration Railroad to develop highway rail and pathway rail grade crossing improvement projects that focus on improving the safety and mobility of people, goods, and services. Norfolk Southern and the City of Trussville have committed to paying the remaining balance of 20% local match requirement for the CRISI grant.
Move the item.
Hi, Chief.
How you doing, Madam Chair? Council members, we'll bring up Mr. Chris Hatcher and Mr. Colin Alexander that can speak to this item.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
I'm Colin Alexander, serve as planner with the Birmingham Department of Transportation. This is essentially a amendment to a resolution that we already passed the City Council. Back in September, we came to you, we applied for a $10 million grant from the Rail Crossing Elimination Program, in which the city was going to put $250,000 of the 20% match that was required for that grant. That grant was successfully submitted on October 11th. A week later, FRA Administrator Emmett Bowes came to Birmingham, toured Harris Homes, which is where we're focusing on this grant, and made the recommendation to us, and also in a subsequent call to Norfolk Southern, that we tweak the grant and submit it as part of the Consolidated Rail Infrastructure Safety Improvement pot of money, better known as CRISI. So we're not asking for additional funds. All this is saying is that we are going to apply for both of these. We'll be awarded one of them. And so we're not asking for any more, but it just gives us the opportunity to accept an award from an additional grant using the funds that we've already committed.
Okay. Well, welcome back.
Thank you.
Yes, from your paternity leave.
Thank you. I appreciate
Councilors, do you have any questions? Councilor Abbott?
Oh, it's on. I wanted to know, this says that this is a planning grant. Does that mean that all 10 million would be used for planning and nothing would be used for implementation?
Yes, it's a significant project. We're talking about upwards of $150 million on construction. So what we're looking at is basically getting up to 60% plans done, as well as our NEPA and a little bit of right-of-way acquisition to set the ground so that we can then apply in future rounds for implementation money from one of these two sources.
Okay, so the 10 million will cover planning and right-of-way acquisition?
Some right-of-way acquisition, not all of it. There's certain regulations we have to work through with the two different grant sources, depending on which one we get awarded. But it's also going to cover our environmental review.
Okay. So do we expect, I mean, I guess you'd have to have a crystal ball to answer this, but do we expect that it will really take $10 million to do that?
Yeah, we have a pretty good sense of that. Generally, you're looking, 10% or so is kind of what we're looking at these construction projects for planning, roughly. So we think that we can get to 60% plans based on our estimates and get all our NEPA done under this $10 million.
Okay, and what kind of expertise does it take to do this planning? Do we hire a civil engineering firm, or are there special railroad design firms?
There will be some firms that specialize in railroad engineering that are going to be involved, and we'll partner with Norfolk Southern to identify those firms.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Madam Chairman.
Thank you. Madam President, do you have any questions?
Yes, thank you very much. I was in attendance when the Director, Administrator Bowes, came over, and along with the Sewell and other local officials. And so there was a lot of talk about the Chrissy grant or the Chrissy improvements, and so there was an encouragement for us to go after those additional funds. So does this reflect what we're just getting from Chrissy? Is that the additional of that, or was that the original grant, if you just remind me?
So this is essentially the same grant.
Okay.
Because there is so much need for rail infrastructure across the country, and there's a competitive grants, the RCE grant program has $560 million allocated to it. Chrissy has $1.5 billion. And so while we feel very confident in our case in terms of getting awarded, this is insurance to make sure that we get awarded the money we need for this grant cycle so that we're not delaying future grant applications.
All right, thank you. And I'd be remiss if we didn't just thank our transportation chair, Dr. O'Quinn. I know he's worked tirelessly, and also with Norfolk Southern and the City of Trussville to make this become a reality for those residents over there in Harris Homes. They're sandwiched in and virtually are blocked in anytime when those trains are moving or are blocked on there. So I look forward to this, so thank you. And thank the Department of Transportation for the work that you all did as well.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you. Councilor Tate, do you have anything? Okay. You said 60% of the plans will be funded for this?
We want to get to 60%, which will allow us to go for implementation. The way that FRA grants are broken down, there are certain buckets that you have to get to before you can go for. So in the next round, the last 40% of the plans plus implementation could be included once we get to that stage.
So we have to apply for another grant?
We will have to apply for implementation grants as part of this. So what we're looking at is in about probably, if we get awarded, which will be sometime in the summer, I think RCE will be announced in June is what they said. Chrissy sometimes after that. We're estimating probably 24 to 30 months in terms of the planning process of this, at which point we will then be prepared to apply for an implementation grant.
Perfect. Okay. Do y'all have any other questions? Okay. Was there a motion?
Yes.
Okay, well, there was a motion and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
That item passes. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next item is item number 10, a resolution authorizing the mayor to execute a professional services agreement with the Penny Foundation to implement, administer, and manage the fiscal and budgetary aspects of Common Ground, a conflict resolution initiative using the Pinwheel Group's habilitation, empowerment, and accountability therapy, HEAT, a curriculum designed for people of color and/or others facing socioeconomic issues, which applies a holistic, culturally relative, responsive, strength-based model that emphasizes a positive and engaging approach to handling anger management and conflict resolution throughout each Birmingham City High School, middle school, and K-8 and alternative learning schools during the school year, as well as in each sector of the city's communities on behalf of the city for an amount not to exceed $100,000, with all services to be performed over the next 3 fiscal years ending on June 30th, 2025.
Move the item.
Second.
Hey, how are you?
Good afternoon.
Good to see
It's
you.
great to see you. I want to give you a little explanation about what this is about. Proud to stand up here with Menkenta Holloway, who's one of the court administrators at Birmingham Municipal Court, and Galvin Billups is standing somewhere around.
I know.
He's part of this process, as well as are some other city departments. In the budget this year, the mayor put money in for conflict resolution. And one of the items that the mayor's office has landed on as one of its solutions for conflict resolution in the city of Birmingham is to bring teaching for conflict resolution into the Birmingham public school system. The program is going to be called, overarchingly, Common Ground. The curriculum that's going to be used is called HEAT. HEAT stands for Habilitation, Empowerment, Accountability Therapy. It is an evidence-based, culturally sensitive curriculum that will be rolled out in every high school, every middle school, K-8 in the city of Birmingham. The superintendent of education has invested his full authority in all of these principles to bring at least one cohort per school online starting in January. Let me give you an example of how this is going to work. We are going to train and certify about 100 coaches, is what we call them. They are members of the community from all walks of life who will be certified in this curriculum, who will teach the curriculum 2 days a week. The sessions will be between 60 and 90 minutes each for 22 to 26 sessions over the next year, over the next semester. We know this curriculum works because we use it at the court for those folk who have been arrested on what we call violence charges. And we've been using it for a few years now with what we think is great outcomes. We also used it in Birmingham Public Schools last semester at Carver High School as an example. And we thought the results were extremely promising, so much so that we're going to roll it out to the entire community of school leaders next semester. There's a lot of work we got to do between now and then, but the first thing we need you to do is authorize the use of the $1 million, which is being held by DYS, to be turned over to the Penny Foundation so that we can start making those payments toward those entities that will be that we'll need to move forward. $100,000 of that, as in this resolution, is going to go to the Penny Foundation for its administrative costs. That's what this resolution is.
So, what about the other 900,000?
What about the,
What about the other 900,000 that we haven't voted on?
Madam Chair, I can't speak to that.
Keith?
So I think that the mayor has more initiatives that he wants to bring forth before the
Gotcha,
council,
okay.
bring conflict resolution. So this is one of possibly many that we're trying to implement.
Okay, gotcha. Okay, gotcha. So it's not like the financial literacy. Okay, gotcha. All right, Madam President, do you have any questions?
Well, I just am interested, you said it will be deployed by use of cohorts in each of these grades. So are we talking one class size, or what
Yes,
will be the
ma'am.
size of that cohort?
The cohort will be between 15 and 20 students in each cohort. Some schools have asked for us to put 2 cohorts in the school, which means we'll have 30 to 40 kids in each school being helped, which means we'll have double the number of coaches. We think it's going to take 2 coaches per cohort.
Okay.
In order to make the classes work right. That's been a good formula for us. And so you know, every single council district is going to be impacted because the coaches come from across the breadth of the city. They are pastors. They are other teachers. They are firemen. Every walk of life is touched by these coaches. In addition to doing the conflict resolution in the school system, for boys this first semester, we're also going to roll online next year a curriculum for young ladies, which is called HER, by the same 2 therapists. We simply have to queue that up and get it ready to go out over next summer. We're also going to still be using this in the communities at recreation centers for those folk who come through the court, and we think we're going to be able to offer some opportunities for members of the community who simply want to volunteer and come through this conflict resolution. So we're excited about the possibilities in this.
And you say you currently use this in the municipal court system. So are you all going to be the primary trainers for this group of coaches? Or?
We're bringing in the authors of the HE curriculum.
Okay.
2 therapists, one from Florida, one from Kentucky. They run a company called the Pinwheel Group. And just to give you a little historical background, the HE curriculum was initially formulated to be used in drug court settings because there were no culturally sensitive therapies for people of color in the drug court setting. And so they created this about 12 years ago, and it's been growing momentum. It's been tested and validated and found to be an evidence-based sure shot for helping people at least understand the issues associated. We have taken that curriculum and adapted it into a conflict resolution program. We think it's not a stretch what we're doing, and it seems to be working really, really well because we get young men in a setting to talk about the issues of life in an evidence-based way. And when I say evidence-based, for people who don't know, that means it's a curriculum. It's not talk therapy. It's not just mentoring where you're sitting down. Each one of these kids has a workbook. They have homework. They have to work through these issues, and it's been proven to be effective. So we're bringing the authors in, which is why we have to go through all of these steps, because we have to protect their intellectual property so that it doesn't become watered down and spread around the community. But to that point, we also know that when it comes to teaching elementary school kids, we're going to have to create a Birmingham curriculum, a curriculum specifically for our elementary school kids so that they can learn conflict resolution at an earlier age. And we know we have to collaborate with members of our educational community and other benefactors in our community to create that curriculum. So eventually we'll be teaching it across the spectrum in Birmingham, we believe.
Thank you.
I do have a question. How do you determine if a student will be in the cohort since there's only 15 to 20 students?
So over the last few weeks, the team that's been assembled to put this together has been meeting with the leadership at each school in Birmingham that's affected. It's about 23 schools. We have asked them to identify at-risk students. Their definition of at-risk students is varied. All right, it doesn't mean a kid who's just failing everything. It may be a child who's doing well academically, but who is struggling socially, who needs to be in the context of learning how to deal with other folks. And so we're letting each school determine what at-risk means for their student. Every school doesn't have the same need. Every school doesn't have kids fighting every single day. Some of them have other issues that might not seem like they're conflict resolution issues, but the school system, the school leadership knows what they are. And so we're leaving it up to them to identify who should be in the classes.
Okay. Councilor Abbott?
I don't have any questions.
Okay. Councilor Tate?
Ma'am. Judge, how are you?
I'm doing well, Council.
Good. I'm excited about this, and I think it's you raised some good points, is bringing in the authors of who created this program, because I stand on that those that are closest to the problems are your solution solvers.
Yes, ma'am.
And so, to be bringing this conflict resolution, when you look at gun violence and the nature of violence all across the country, this city is on life support.
Yes.
And so if you pull the plug,
Well,
you got some serious things going on here. And so I'm excited to know that you're going to incorporate those from all walks of life to be a part of this. And also, I would definitely like to see where does the more holistic approach come in, because when we're, trying to heal the whole person, we need to incorporate the whole family. That means the parents probably need some conflict resolution. So that may be something that you can look, down the line, or try to incorporate this into making it mandatory that parents also, become a part of this, to start that restorative piece and this holistic piece because I think what I often see a lot, especially, doing the work that I do, is we often have these great ideas, but we always seem to plug into the wrong people who don't have, what the people really need. Because I can't tell a person how to get off drugs because I've never been on drugs. So I'm always saying use people with lived experiences in situations, and making sure that we are attacking the social and emotional well-being, of the person that we are trying to bring their whole being back into, like, how do you really solve conflict?
To your point, one of the first things we're going to have to do is have an orientation for all the parents or guardians affected by this, because we have to have their permission in order to engage their children. And so it will be sometime in December for all of the parents. Now, they won't specifically be in the conflict resolution training, but it does give us an on-ramp to have that discussion with them down the road as we get their kids involved. And we believe that it's this tide of teaching children how to deal with conflicts in a different way that's going to raise the boat of peacefulness in Birmingham. And if we start teaching generation next or down the road to look at things differently, then it starts helping across the board. There's no easy or quick fix. We're not going for the easy or quick fix, but we believe this is going to be a sure shot. If you teach children how to think about peace differently, then we think everybody benefits from that.
Yep. And I like the idea you saying the other part of this going to come in with the females, because I often, during my tenure of probation and parole, my biggest problem were females. And a lot of people don't really believe that the females are really they got some serious things going on themselves. So attacking, it all from, a holistic approach, female and male, I think it's going to be a great outcome. And, whatever you need from me, just all you got to do is let me know.
Thank you, we appreciate it.
All right,
and we've
thank
also
you.
had conversation with the chairman of the Education Committee, Councilor Moore, about this. So we wanted to make sure that everybody knew what we were doing, and we wanted to make sure you understood that this is what the mayor's putting his energies behind. We believe is going to be extremely effective.
Thank you, Judge.
Thank you.
Well, I think this is absolutely great because, if all you know is violence and all you see is violence, violence is going to be normal to you. And so I think we have to stop that generational curse of having these kids think, if someone pushes me or if somebody just says something to me that is not nice, then I need to fight them or I even need to pull out a gun because, I've heard people say, even my dad, back in the day, we used to fight with fists and then went from fists to knives and now it's going from knives to guns. And if we can just see in the schools the peace, and the kids are usually the ones that lead the change. We see that all the time, and we talk about that all the time. So this could be life-changing for a whole family. A kid could stop a parents from fighting and be like, hey, mom and dad, I learned this in this program. This is not how you do it. Or if they have a younger sibling, they could like, hey, I know you're angry, but let's talk it out. So I'm really excited for this, and I'm excited for the other programs that we'll have as well.
We're learning in this space too, because as we were calling the principals and the leaders at the schools to determine what their needs would be, we learned different ways of looking at what conflict is in the schools that we weren't aware of. I won't name the school, but they gave us a different perspective. They said, I don't have the fights every day, But I deal with a population of kids who think that if you won't be my friend, you're bullying me.
Yeah.
That whole notion that's been put out there is something that they never get a chance to sit down and talk about in any significant way. And I think that this is the kind of program that we can bring in and help dispel some of those notions and give them some alternatives to resolving what they perceive as conflict anyway.
Yeah, and even what's happening with UVA, that was really a personal conflict within the football players. So who would have known if they had better conflict resolution skills, and that would have taken the life of really 5 people, because the former football player, his life is over with. So thank you.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
And I just want to, say that I did get an opportunity to attend. Judge Sparks did invite me to one of the Heat graduations, and just to hear the young men, that how their mindset had went from this how I was to this is who I am today. And one person that sticks out to me is a young man who was homeless, bought his house, was from Chicago, and also a young man that took a faith walk and started a hot dog business. And so, booming. I cannot remember the name of it, but this, as Councilor Smitherman said, when you give people something greater to look towards, their mindset changes. And I think often too, a lot of kids have been dealt some bad cards, and it's not their fault. But as adults and as people in leadership, we have an obligation and responsibility, to our community to make sure that people are living safe, sustainable, healthy, whole lives. So I'm in it for the long haul, so whatever you need from me, Judge, don't hesitate.
Thank you very much.
Are there any other questions? Well, there's been a motion and a second. All in favor say aye. Aye. That I am passed.
Thank you very much.
Okay, next item is item number 11. We could probably bring up 11 and 12 together. Do you want us to bring 11 and 12 together? Okay.
They're different, but it's kind of the same episode behind.
Is the same person coming up?
Yes.
Okay. Item number 11, a redevelopment agreement between the City of Birmingham and NCRC Housing Rehab Fund, LLC, under which the city shall convey to NCRC a total of 52 lots located in the Pratt City community at 1430 Pratt Highway, Birmingham, and also award funds under the Community Development Block Grant Disaster Recovery Program in the amount of $2,987,000 for NCRC for the development of single-family, affordable, energy-efficient houses containing approximately 1,200 to 1,700 square feet of living space. And then item number 12, an affordable housing development funding agreement between the City of Birmingham and Neighborhood Housing Services of Birmingham Incorporated, NHSB, under which the city shall convey 20 multifamily affordable rental units in the Pratt City area on property located at 1430 Pratt Highway, Birmingham to NHSB, and also award funds under the Community Development Block Grant Disaster Recovery Program in the amount of $100,000 to make needed repairs to the units.
Move the items.
Second.
Hi.
Hello, good afternoon. Corey Stallworth. I serve as Senior Deputy Director of Community Development. And these two items are related to the Shadowbrook subdivision off of Pratt Highway in the Pratt community. If you recall, the city foreclosed on this development back in this past summer. And since then, Community Development, we have been working with NCRC, our development partner, and Neighborhood Housing Services to come up with a plan to put this development back into use. And so item 11 before you is a request to provide a little bit over $2 million to NCRC to develop up to 52 homes on the surplus property in the Shadowbrook subdivision. Also, the request is to convey that surplus property to NCRC to build those homes there. So that's the first half of the subdivision there. This subdivision will include 3-bedroom, 2-bath homes that will be ranch style, as well as 2-story homes to complete the rest of the development. It will also include some green space that will have a walking trail as well as a playground for families to enjoy. The square footage will range between 1,200 square feet to 1,600 square feet, and we are looking to make these homes available at or below $200,000.
Okay, councilors, do you have any questions? Councilor Abbott?
Can you describe exactly where 1430 Pratt Highway is? Is it anywhere close to the library and the park, or is this?
Yeah, so it's right before you get to that. If you're familiar with the water towers off of, I believe that's 78, Highway 78, you're going to make a left there at that intersection, and it's off that highway there next to the Ross Neely commercial trucking industry.
Okay,
there.
I know where you are. Thank you.
Councilor Tate?
I just want to commend Dr. Thomas and Deputy Starworth and the whole team of, making this swift move to, put these homes in the Pratt City area. This is going to be huge, for the community, looking forward to the development. So thank you all so much for, bouncing back. Because I remember, the city had to require the land back, but just moving swiftly to get this right here moving. So thank you so much.
Okay. Madam President?
I don't have any questions, just happy to see this opportunity come for the Pratt community and the utilization of the NCRC funds for this. So I really would love to see this in every district. That's an opportunity for it to happen, so thank you.
Yes, definitely that's our intent to move across the city. So this will put us at 95 homes under construction in county.
Okay.
Our goal with NCRC is 200 homes.
All right, thank you.
Did you talk about item 12?
No,
Or did I miss it?
I can give an overview of that.
Huh?
No, I didn't mention item 12, but I can give an overview.
Yes, sir.
Yes, so of course the Shadowbrook site also came with 20 rental units that are all completely occupied. And so this agreement will convey those 20 units to Neighborhood Housing Services, and they will be the new managers and owners of the 20 units, as well as we wanted to provide $100,000 to assist in the rehabilitation of those units. Since those units came online in 2014, there has been some issues that have arisen in the plumbing, the roof work, as well as the front porches that were constructed out of wood are starting to become weathered. And so we wanted to provide this funding to give Neighborhood Housing Services an opportunity to rehabilitate those units so that they could last a long time. And so Mr. Kelly Gamble is here as well if there are any questions for him.
Mr. Gamble, can you come up?
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. I guess just talk to us some more about this item.
Sure. We had a couple of conversations with respect to the utilization of the Shadowbrook Apartments. I had spoken with Dr. Thomas and Corey and Mr. Datcher as well too. Our agency already holds about 18 units of affordable housing that we currently are managing. The units that we have over in the Crestwood area came through Department of Community Development back in 2009, I believe, to the tune of about $490,000 worth of home funds. We've maintained those. We do the recertifications on them every year, so we've kept them in pretty good repair. And so our agency, ever since we began having these conversations, has been out to Shadowbrook several times. We were glad to see, we were ready to go ahead and cut the grass out there, but I believe the good folks of Public Works beat us to it, and which is great. But we've been having some telephone calls from some folks that are out there that are ready to have a direct line with an agency. The city's done a wonderful job under the circumstances, but I'm sure the city's ready for those units to transition into another partner. And so NHS Birmingham stands ready we stand ready to take those apartments on. We've done an inspection. Glad to see that the storm rooms are out there. A couple of units, I believe there's only maybe one unit that may not be vacated. We had a chance to look into 1432, but it looks really, really well kept. And so we're anxious and ready to go. So my board is anxious for this opportunity. We're anxious for the opportunity to show that we're continuing to be a responsible partner in the affordable housing space.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Councilors, do you have any other questions? Councilor Abbott?
Did you say that the units are currently occupied or unoccupied?
They're currently occupied. Yeah, it's
Okay.
just one that may not be.
Okay, so in order to do the renovations that are needed, will the people have to move out of their apartments, or will they just have to put up with a little mess?
If they can put up with a little sawdust and noise, I think they'll be okay. But one of the things we found with the residents over at Shadowbrook is they take a lot of pride in those units. If you visited that property, you will see that there's hardly a scrap of paper out there.
Oh.
And the neighbors have kind of leaned on each other when it comes to lawn maintenance, when it comes to watching out for each other. And so they can handle a little noise, and a couple of days worth of, demolition, then I think they'll be good to go. I don't think they'll have to move out by any stretch.
Can you move them to District 3? Our apartment dwellers don't seem to have that same pride, so I'd like for you to move them over to my place.
Councilwoman Tate's pretty fortunate with Shadowbrook.
Okay, thank you. That's all my questions.
And I just
Thank you.
I didn't want to belabor the point, but I just wanted them to make sure that they understood that the upgrades most of them are ADA upgrades that we done.
Good.
So to his point, they're not moving out of their units. It's just we're doing minor upgrades to get them in compliance and just good living space.
It is.
Okay, that's good. Madam President?
I didn't have anything. I
Okay,
think
Councilor Tate.
I just, again, want to commend Dr. Thomas, Corey, Kelly, and Neighborhood Housing for taking on this project. I did get an opportunity to meet with the residents from Shadowbrook, and as Kelly stated, they are very prideful. I mean, they take very good care. They should be the model of what community really means. Like, really, they look out for each other. They know who come in there, who don't belong. Everybody got everybody's phone number, and that's what community is all. That's what reimagining community is all about. So this is going to be huge for them. I do quite often pass by there when I go to meetings over there, and it is well kept, Councilor. I mean, well kept. And so, again, thank you all for your tenacious act of moving very swiftly. And I think my colleagues would want to join in and come on through the 763 everywhere. So, again, thank you all for your hard work.
Yes, I'm really excited to see this for District 9 because with it being so far west, a lot has gone on over there. Even going back to 2011 with the hurricane. I mean, not the hurricane, tornado. Sorry, tornado. I'm thinking about Virginia. The tornado. And it really needs a lot of love, TLC. I'm really happy to see that happening. So I think there's, anybody else? You have any more questions?
I'm good.
Okay. I think there's been a motion and a second. All in favor say aye. Aye. That item passes. Thank you, guys.
Is that on both of them?
On both of
11
them,
and 12?
yes, ma'am. On items 11 and 12. Okay, item 13, an amended and restated project agreement between the City of Birmingham and the Hardwick LLC, under which the Hardwick will undertake a project to redevelop, rehabilitate, and enhance property located at 2308 First Avenue South, Birmingham, into an upscale full-service office building and retail destination in the City of Birmingham known as the Hardwick, consisting in part of approximately 48,750 square feet of Class A office space and 9,354 square feet of retail and restaurant space. And the city will provide the Hardwick with two incentives. Number one, an upfront lump sum incentive in an amount up to but not to exceed $855,000 to assist with the development of the project. And number two, a 10-year revenue sharing incentive in the amount up to but not to exceed $200,000 per year based on a percentage of actual sales tax revenue following each year during the payment term for a cumulative total amount up to but not to exceed $2 million.
Move the item.
Second.
Hello.
Hello, I'm Griffin Lassiter, Senior Project Manager in IAO. Alan Foster did his usual wonderful job in writing up the submission, but I'll just add a few more things there. This is a little bit unusual. It's a two-part request for you to consider today. I'm going to cover the revenue share part and then in just a few comments, and then Coriate Hauser is going to come up and cover the other part. When I first looked at this building and went through this building about a year ago now, I said, no way. I said, I just didn't have the vision. Well, now I do. It's a $26 million investment in the city of Birmingham. The revenue share is a 50% share of actual sales tax revenue with Hardwick LLC for 10 years, with a cap of up to $2 million over the 10-year term and an annual cap of $200,000. Now, each year the annual $200,000 cap stands on its own, and shortfalls in any particular year cannot be made up in subsequent years. Of course, as with all of our agreements, annual payments will be based on 50% of the actual sales tax revenue collected during the year. The thing that is, one other comment I'll make, the thing that is so attractive about this project is, as I said, I didn't have the vision when I first walked in, but now I do. It's not only going to rehab a very old historic building in Birmingham, but it's also going to bring new sidewalks, pedestrian lighting, parking lot, offices, and restaurants and other retail along the Rotary Trail, which is something that's very important, in my opinion, to Birmingham, and at completion it'll bring us 200 new jobs. Would you like for me to bring Coriate up to cover the other part before we do questions?
Yes.
Yes, ma'am. Okay.
Good afternoon. Coriate Hauser, serve as Deputy Director for Innovation and Economic Opportunity. I'll be pretty brief in my comments, but the ARP funding, which was already approved last year for economic development, we're tapping into that fund here to incentivize a lot of the engineering services that'll happen. There's about nearly $2 million of improvements that the project will make to city-owned or city assets, as Griffin said, sidewalks, lighting, greenway, things of that nature. And so we're incentivizing that for a one-time $855,000, and then the rest is our typical revenue sharing that we do. So that has already been approved as that top line item, but as promised, we would bring those projects back to you guys as we have them. So this is one of them that's coming out of the economic development line item from ARP.
Thank you. Do you guys want to come up, the developers? Would you guys like to say anything?
Sure, thank you. Good afternoon. I'm Meredith Calhoun. I'm CEO of Tessa Commercial Real Estate. I oversee the office leasing for the project and help with the development as needed.
I'm Scott Bloomston, Vice President of Development for Centennial Properties and instrumental on this project.
Okay, thank you. Madam President, do you have any questions?
I didn't have any questions other than just related to Coriate, if you would just tell us a little more. Is this something unique, this particular opportunity we have here with the use of the ARPA funding?
Yeah, so primarily it's, like I said, it's about $2 million in improvements that they'll make to city right-of-ways. And so because of the amount of jobs, I think it's about 400 during construction, as Griffin mentioned, about 200 ongoing. We thought it was a good project to incentivize to help us recover from the pandemic and sort of finish out all of the commercial activity that will happen during or on the Rotary Trail. So it's a very unique use, but we thought a good use for the economic development driver that it will have over time. As Griffin mentioned, it's about a $26 million investment that they'll make over the life of the project. And so with our sort of revenue sharing cap in 10 years and this $855,000, we thought that was a good return on investment for this one.
Perfect. And this workforce development piece of it, by bringing in the jobs and everything, this is like construction, engineering, just all phases of work, or?
Well, The 200 I was referring to were permanent jobs upon operation.
Oh, okay.
Construction jobs are in addition to that.
Okay.
And by the way, BCIA, we've worked with BCIA, and they're fully in support.
Okay, thank you. That's all I have.
Okay, thank you. Counselor Abbott?
I'm good, thank you.
Okay. Counselor Tate? Okay. Well, there's been a motion and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, the item passes. Thank you. Next item is item number 14, a lease agreement between the City of Birmingham and Dale T. Puck, under which DTP Incorporated will lease property located at 936 Avenue North, Birmingham, to the city for operations of Birmingham Police Department K-9 unit and for other related purposes for a term of 7 months for a sum of $11,142.86 per month for a total amount not to exceed $78,000.02.
Move the item.
Second.
Hello.
Hello, how are you guys doing this
Good.
afternoon? I'm Sergeant Porter with the Birmingham Police Department, K-9 unit. I'm their supervisor. This is actually a renewal item that's reimbursed by Transportation Security Administration grant and Homeland Security for the TSA explosive detection dogs.
Okay. Counselor Abbott?
Yeah, why is it only 7 months? I'm sorry.
We're in the middle of the actual lease agreement.
Okay, so is this a location, is this only for the K-9s at the airport? Or do we have other K-9s?
It houses everyone, all the K-9s.
Okay,
from the drug detection dogs to the apprehension dogs as well.
What about the fire dogs? Do they live with their handlers?
We don't. From my understanding, we don't even have. We don't have fire dogs anymore.
We don't
Accelerant
have
dogs.
the ones that sniff out the
I know you're talking about
arson.
Right. In case that there was a body that was cadaver dogs, but I don't think we have those.
Or if somebody poured gasoline on the house and set it on fire.
So I think what Sergeant Porter was alluding to is that these funds are reimbursable by FTA or TSA for the dogs that work at the airport.
At the airport. But our other K-9s live there too.
Drug detection dogs and the apprehension dogs are also housed in that building.
Okay, so it's not 7 months because we're building something somewhere else. It's just 7 months because you need to fill out the rest of the year, I guess.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, Madam President.
And no, I just wanted to be sure I understood. This is a renewal, so this is nothing new, no additionals.
No, I think this is the 4th year.
Okay, thank you. That's it for me.
Were the K-9 dogs the one that did that big bust at the airport?
Yes, on yesterday it was one of my drug detection dogs.
Okay.
6 pounds.
Shout out to the dogs then. Okay.
The $315,000 street value.
Yes, ma'am.
I hope they got a steak dinner.
It was an ongoing investigation.
Gotcha. Well, good job. Okay, well, there aren't any questions. There's been a motion and a second. All in favor say aye. Aye. The item passes. Thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate you guys.
Next item is item number 16, a resolution authorizing the mayor to execute an agreement with Avenue Insights and Analytics, LLC, under which Avenue Insights and Analytics, LLC, will provide to the City of Birmingham data integration services, which will allow transfers with the City of Birmingham business license statuses to Acela for the Planning, Engineering, and Permits Department, allowing Acela fields to be updated with recent statuses of business license for the permit review process, preventing the issuance of a permit without a license for a period not to exceed 1 year for a total not to exceed $21,600.
Good afternoon, councilors. Oh, sorry.
Move second.
Now you can say.
Now, good afternoon, councilors.
Yeah,
I'm Patrick McClendon. I serve as Director of Information Management Services. This is to build and maintain an interface between our business license system, which is Avenue, and Acela, which does our permitting, code enforcement, and inspections. So this would allow when someone is applying for a building permit to automatically check the other system to see if they have an existing business license. It cuts a lot of time out of the permitting process, makes it a lot more efficient for the companies that are doing business with the city, and also ensures, reduces errors and ensures that they have a valid business license before they're allowed to continue in the permitting process.
Okay. Councilor Abbott?
Yeah, I was just surprised that we didn't already have this, and I wanted to hear the backstory but I guess it's because we're moving into the 21st century with our technology, and we just didn't have a way to do it before.
Yes, Councilor.
Well, good. Thank you.
Okay, Madam President.
Yes, I really want to piggyback on Councilor Abbott's statement or just comment regarding the system. If you were saying on a scale of 1 to 10, how does this enhance our current permitting process? And the reason I ask this, I'm a part of Leadership Birmingham. So there was a presentation a few weeks ago that dealt with economic development. And there was during some panel discussion, you had some small business owners that had some questions regarding permitting and business license. So I just wondered, how does this interact? Is this only building permits, or would this be another type system across PEP?
Well, Excella handles a lot of different kinds of permitting, primarily building permits, but other types of permitting we do too. I think garage sales, for instance, those sorts of things. And there's actually, I think, a garage sale business license that you get temporarily. You could check that for a permit as well.
So you think this enhancement then overall, does this give us greater impact of what type of services we could provide? I guess I'm just trying to see this layer then, you think this adds?
This doesn't change what we do.
Okay.
It makes it a lot more efficient, reliable, effective, and eliminates the possibility for errors.
Okay. Because I guess I was thinking that we had gone automated a few years ago or a few budgets ago, and that's what we had provided already.
Yes, Councilor. The Excella is what y'all approved.
Okay.
And that project's ongoing, and we've finished phase 1. There are 2 more phases. We're in the middle of phase 2 to put all of our permitting and all inspection into Excella. One place where we've lacked, and I think Councilor Abbott was referencing this, is interfaces between our systems, having all of our information systems talk to each other so that things happen in an automated way and require less manual intervention and can happen faster.
Okay.
So this is a great example of where we need to be heading, to have our systems talk to each other and have things flow in an automated way.
Okay.
Without manual intervention.
Thank you. Glad to hear that. Thank you.
Councilor Tate? Okay. Well, there's been a motion and a second. All in favor say aye. Aye. The item passes. Thank you. Item number 17, a resolution determining the City of Birmingham tree lighting ceremony as a part of the holiday season, and that public activities and events held on or around November 27th serve as a public purpose, and the City of Birmingham funds will be administered to pay for said events and goods and services in accordance with Section 3-1-7 of the General Code of the City of Birmingham.
Move the item.
Second.
Jeff?
Second.
Jeff?
Yeah.
Councilor Abbott?
What are we doing? $15,000 is a lot of money. What are we doing?
Madam Chair, Councilor Abbott, I would appreciate if the administration would give you a run of show as it relates to the tree lighting ceremony. However, as it relates to the amount, it is a cost share between the mayor's office and the council. It is my understanding that somewhere between President Alexander, possibly Pro Tem Smitherman, that the mayor asked them if the council would agree to cost share the event. So from there, I was approached by the president and the administration to look at picking up the expense of 2 items. I think the portion for us is somewhere maybe between $7,000 and $8,000 of our cost share for the total cost of the event. But as it relates to what it is and the kind of run of show, I would rather yield to the administration on that.
Madam Chair.
Okay, before we yield to the administration, so the $15,000 is not coming out of the city council's budget, only half of it is?
Yes, ma'am.
And the other half is coming out of the mayor's budget, and Mr. Mitchell's going to tell us what we're doing, besides turning on the lights.
Yes, so it's similar to, Madam Chair, it's similar to what we did last year, but last year I don't think we had a cost sharing. We just took on the full amount of put it on the show. So it all entails basically a operation budget of getting the stage sound, some type of entertainment, and just the overall getting the tree up to completion for the lighting of the ceremony of the tree. The largest share, as Mr. McDaniels noted, that the council will probably take on is the advertisement budget. It should be around close to $5,000 that we'll try and work with them on at least reaching out to the different agencies from Cumulus to Courtney French and 94.9, different agencies that we like to get the word out to get more people excited about coming down to City Hall for the tree lighting ceremony. So we don't have a runner show technically right now, but I'm just giving you the operational part of what the cost of outlining into.
Does that include shipping a tree from North Carolina to Birmingham?
So currently we already have a tree that the council helped and approved a couple years, I would probably say about 5 years, maybe 4 years ago, that we have a tree that's in-house. But we have to contract out the company to put the tree up because Public Works cannot put that tree up.
Because it's artificial, right?
Yes.
Well, good. I'm glad we're not murdering a tree anymore. Even in
you remember
another
those
state.
days when we had to buy a tree? Yeah.
Yeah, because they used to go to North Carolina and ship them in here.
As someone allergic to trees, I appreciate it. Do you have any more questions?
Thank you, Mr. Mitchell.
Anything for you, Councilor Abbott.
Madam President, do you have any?
No.
Okay, Councilor Tate? Okay. Well, there's been a motion and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. That item passes. We look forward to that in a week and a half. Okay. Item 18, a project funding agreement with Dreams Bar and Lounge Incorporated, under which Dreams Bar and Lounge will develop a restaurant as part of a project involving improvements to approximately 3,500 square feet of space located at 1506 Pearson Avenue, Southwest Birmingham, and the city will provide financial incentives to Dreams Bar and Lounge of up to $100,000 in support of the project.
Move the item.
Second.
Well, good afternoon. My name is Cornell Wesley, and I serve as the Director for the Office of Innovation and Economic Opportunity. One correction before I go into my comments, you'll see that it says ARP funding. It is not. We've changed the funding source, so it will not be ARP funding. Before you today is what we would term as a micro-incentive agreement for targeted areas that have had little to no retail activity in several years. We are defining retail activity as the establishment of new food, beverage, entertainment products, and/or services, with priority being retail. This year, the City Council enthusiastically approved the RISE ordinance, Retention for Incentives for Success and Expansion, which will in the future become the vehicle for future similarly styled incentive agreements. In addition, IEO is programming the development of the remaining site remediation dollars for future uses, and will work with our ARP team to appropriately document and administer future resources. For this particular project, the use of the proceeds will be for renovation and construction build-out support. None of the resources are for working capital. The direct taxes from Dreams Lounge, without any further inducement nor abatement, are nearly $500,000 annually at year 5 and $1.3 million City of Birmingham direct taxes over the same period. Now, the criteria of how we evaluate these targeted particular areas are they, again, have to be located in an area of opportunity. We work in hand with community development, and you will understand through our existing bold agreement what those targeted areas are. But just to highlight some of them: Eastlake, Inslee, Titusville, Hill, Smithfield, and in this case, West End. It must have also, as a criteria of evaluating these micro incentive agreements, we're looking for sweat equity, i.e. skin in the game, capital already contributed and documented and dedicated to the project. The client must have site control via a lease and or ownership. The request must be for furniture, fixtures, and equipment, and or in this case, construction build-out support. And finally, the request cannot exceed a capped amount as we've already presented to you via RISE, $100,000. Now, this is not a RISE project. It is what we hope RISE will become, and so this is an example of what it could potentially look like as RISE accumulates resources. In addition, the ARP function of it is also a programmatic approach for the remaining resources in our site remediation pool. Dreams Bar and Lounge is owned by Mr. Demetrius Carr. Before I bring him up, I want to address one other thing, and that is the clawback, because it's important that even in these micro incentives that we protect our city's resources. So, in the agreement, as a condition to the city's payment of the city assistance, the developer agrees to operate the restaurant for a period of at least 5 years. So, if this business closes within that 5-year period, if it closes in the first year, those resources have to be paid back in full. In the following years, a reduction of 20% until we achieve year 5. And so we're inducing activity in an area, specifically in this case, the West End, where there's been little to no retail activity, and we have also ensured that there's an appropriate callback. I would like to bring Mr. Demetrius Carr up here to give you a brief overview of what the establishment would entail and some of the amenities that will be inside.
Good afternoon, everybody.
Good afternoon.
We're just looking to open a nice upscale style restaurant. If you kind of think about Pascal's in Atlanta, with great food, great atmosphere, very nice, good food. I mean, the kind of like we're not just talking about like hamburgers and hot dogs. We're talking about like lobster tails and oxtails. And just, like I said, just a real nice restaurant for eatery. And that area has always been a nice area. I loved it when I worked with Councilor Tyson over there. So I'm just looking to open up something very nice for that side of town.
Okay. Councilor Abbott, do you have any questions?
Well, by the way, the food sounds great. I'm hungry, and so it really sounds good. But I wanted to ask about the funding source. You said, Mr. Wesley, that the ARP funds were not being used?
Yes, we're using a separate line item out of, it just wasn't updated in your packet what the GL was, but it is not ARP.
Okay, and the reason for that was it didn't qualify for ARP
No,
funds?
it does. What we want to do with the remaining is actually, in order to really facilitate the appropriate use for ARP, there has typically, as I understand it, a programmatic approach, meaning it can't be one first here and there. And so we, as a department, are finishing up what those barriers are, and are ensuring that when we submit it from a documentation standpoint, that it is ready to go, because at which point we're going to make that public, right? And so that will trigger invitations for those in these targeted areas to submit to access those resources.
Okay, thank you. That was my question.
Okay, Madam President.
I know that I did ask. I was very excited to see. I believe this is in District 6, so very excited to see this come just to this side of town. As you said before, the eatery there, or this has been the type traffic that you've wanted. So I'm glad to see that we can, upscale it a bit and provide that type of experience for our residents. So I thank you. I am excited about the city. This, you said again, I'm sorry, I wasn't paying attention. Is this the RISE, or what is this one?
So what RISE will create are micro incentives, right? And this is an example of what that is. I know, as you've seen, as evidenced by the Hartwick size and all of the complications and different things that go along, this is designed for our small business community. You'll recall in that same leadership class, a question was posed, what are we doing for those small business owners from an incentive agreement? And this is an answer to that.
Yes, I want to thank you for that, because that did come up in some of that discussion again in Leadership Birmingham. And what are we doing as a city to help incentivize and try to grow the small business, 500 less, and the micro businesses? How many is that? 5 to 1 employees?
Right. So as the SBA designs small businesses, there is 500 employees or less. We are looking at micro enterprises as 10 employees or less.
Thank you. Thank you very much. That's all I have.
Okay, thank you. Councilor Tate?
I got a few questions. How many people will you employ?
We're hoping to eventually get up to about 65 people. We really want to tap into the hospital area and everything that's in that vicinity. So we really want to get up to at least about 65 employees overall.
So what would be your hours of operation? Because I do see it says Dream Bar and Lounge. So kind of like expound on that for me.
We want to at least be going, first employee will probably get there about 5 a.m. We want to get an early breakfast, then definitely a lunch rush. Close down probably about 11 p.m. and then go start back up with a late night menu as well. We don't have anywhere like late night to go. I'm already a current business owner, and so I found that there's a huge market for like 1 p.m. to 4 a.m. to 5 a.m. So we want to tap into that market as well.
Okay. So basically, still continually serving food.
Continuing to serve good food.
Because I have been to Pascal's before. Thank you.
Did you mean 1 to 5 p.m. or a.m.? A.m.? Okay, a.m.
Yes.
Okay, gotcha. Does anybody have any more questions?
As long as I don't have to wait till 4 o'clock in the morning to get my lobster tails and ox tails. And
you don't have to wait whenever you get there.
I can come early.
Actually, I was going to say my first order is going to be lamb chops medium. I want some broccoli. Look. But whatever kind of support you need from me, because this is in my district, just let me know. We're definitely have an appetite for a Sunday dinner spot, Sunday brunch spot.
Yes.
I think we're slowly but surely losing a lot of them. Yes. So I'm really happy to see a Black-owned restaurant. And thank you for coming to West End, because a lot of times people don't come to West End or Roosevelt City or even Pratt City. They'll go to other parts of the city, so thank you. Yeah. If there are any questions, there will be a motion and a second. All in favor say aye. Aye. The item passes. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next, we need to go. We're good. We need to go back up to item
10.
Item 10, actually. I was actually informed that the amount is actually $1 million and not $100,000. Okay. So we need to reconsider item number 10. Is there a motion?
I move acceptance of item 10 with the corrected amount.
Second.
Is this for 1 year?
Yes, 1 year. So $1 million for 1 year. Okay.
Okay, well, I'll second it.
Okay, Chief.
Just the correction in the amount?
We wanted to correct it for the minutes. It was just a misprint. And going back and looking at the agreement that's in the packet, it does speak to a $1 million allocation that's going to the Penny Foundation. And the group that Judge talked about was the Pinwheel Group, will be a subsidiary of that group to help implement the administration of the program.
Gotcha, because I do remember there's a line item in the budget for $1 million. Okay, gotcha. Councilor Abbott, you good?
Oh, I'm good.
Okay. Y'all good? Okay. Yes. Well, there's been a motion and a second. All in favor say aye. Aye. The item passes with the corrected amount change. Thank you. Next, we will go to item number 19, an incentive agreement with Parkway Auto Group, LLC, pursuant to the City of Birmingham new automotive sales stimulus program, under which the dealer will pay to the city on a quarterly basis an amount equal to 0.25% of the gross proceeds of sale of used automobiles sold by the dealer during the prior quarter, and the city will pay to the dealer on a quarterly basis in an amount equal to 1% of the gross proceeds of the sale of new automobiles sold by the dealer during the prior quarter for a term ending September 27, 2039.
Move the item.
Second.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
I'm Ireneo Johnson. I serve as Project Manager to the Department of Innovation and Economic Opportunity. The item before you this afternoon is the new automotive sales and stimulus program. This was a program that was adopted in 2007 via the City of Birmingham City Council. The ordinance number was 07234, which allowed the city to abate 1% of actual sales tax revenue on new car sales. And it started in 2007. It sunsets in 2039. This is a request of application for the new Birmingham Mitsubishi on Roebuck Parkway. And in order for the application to be reconciled, it has to be approved through county city committees as well as city council for final approval. So it's their request.
Okay. Madam President.
Yes, I just want to know, so this would be a new dealer?
New car
dealer?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And the Parkways. Okay, just want to know if it was a new establishment or new business. Thank you.
Yes, the ordinance was established for new car dealerships because back in 2007, a lot of the car dealerships had pulled out of the city of Birmingham and gone to other municipalities, and to level the playing field, the abatement was put in that the 1% that the dealerships could recover those losses in return for them staying within the city of Birmingham.
Just to give a little bit of background, so around in 2007, that's when former Mayor Larry Langford did the 1% increase on sales tax. So that created a competitive disadvantage for those dealerships within the city of Birmingham where somebody can go get the same car outside our footprint and pay less. So that's why the creation of the new car incentive program where we rebate those taxes because we want to level the playing field for those dealerships to be able to do business in Birmingham and stay in Birmingham.
Thank you.
Councilor Abbott.
I'm just remembering this agreement, and this is only for, I thought it was for all dealerships. I thought it was to get people not to move out.
Yeah, it was only for new car dealerships, not used.
New cars, but it's not a new dealership. It's an old dealership selling new cars.
No, this is a new car dealership.
Okay, but it doesn't have to be. Can't it be an existing dealership that we're trying to keep in the city of Birmingham?
More than likely, they already part of the program.
That's true.
What happens is if they were in the city of Birmingham and they applied for this abatement and came for the city council, then that abatement was automatically added as an incentive per their request. But they have to request that abatement. So this is their request. But as Mr. Mitchell alluded to, all the car dealerships in the city of Birmingham has, pretty much have that 1% abatement, and that levels the playing field for those.
It's not automatic. They have to actually apply into the stimulus. It's kind of a stimulus program that the council created with the partnership with economic development at that time to help abate those taxes to keep them in Birmingham. And not to keep talking more about it, but I know that a lot of the dealerships, we had incentive agreements with them to kind of do capital improvements to their current dealerships to keep them in Birmingham much longer than, because they were ready to leave. So that was kind of the emphasis behind it.
I remember that part. It's kind of scary. All our dealerships leave.
And just note that this program does expire in 2039, so it doesn't go into in perpetuity. There is an expiration date, and that is in September of 2039.
I don't think I have to worry about that.
More of it.
2039. Calculate how old you'll be in 2039.
I'm not going to say. Councilor T. Okay, well, there's been a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye. Aye. The item passes. Thank you.
Thank you.
Item 20, a resolution authorizing Jefferson County to abate the city's non-educational municipal ad valorem taxes in connection with Novu Parkside Residences LLC's redevelopment and reuse of a brownfield site consisting of approximately 4.1 acres located at the corner of 12th Street and 2nd Avenue South as a 5-story multifamily residential building that will deliver approximately 315 apartment units and related amenities, including a clubhouse, fitness center, salt water pool, co-working space, sky lounge, 2 outdoor social lawns, and a parking deck that will deliver approximately 400 parking spaces. The abatement will be in effect for a period of 3 years for each parcel of property obtained by Novu Parkside Residences LLC for the project.
Move the item.
Second.
Hello again. Griffin Lassiter, Senior Project Manager in IEO. In case that address doesn't jump out at you, I'll give you a hint. This is tentatively named the Silos. It's a project that's located at the former Sherman Concrete Plant at the corner of 12th Street and 2nd Avenue South. As was said, it's approximately 4-acre site. The amenities are all included in the submission, so I won't go back over that. The site will include retail and at full operation 20 full-time new jobs in Birmingham and 15 part-time jobs, which is always important to UAB students. The capital investment in the city of Birmingham with this project is $80.5 million. The request that I'm going to bring the developers up to talk about a little bit more of the city is a brownfield property tax abatement for 3 years of non-educational property taxes. We don't ever touch the educational taxes, as you know. And over those 3 years, those abatements total about $902,000. The environmental cleanup, the total bill, is $2 million. So we're being asked for to help with less than half of that. And then over the 10 years, which is our measuring point for these kinds of things, the total property tax receipts amount to an estimated $6.2 million. So as opposed to the 902 we're being asked to abate. Trey Hill is here with some of his colleagues to talk about the project some more, and so I'll turn it over to him.
Thanks, Bill. Good afternoon. As Griffin said, I'm Trey Hill, economic development lawyer with Bradley here in town. I'm very excited to bring before this committee the project that Griffin just touched on. If it's okay with the committee, I'd like to introduce 3 members of the Novu residential team. Let their founder and CEO, Patrick Jackson, talk a little bit about his company and the project, and then he can kick it back to me to talk about the economic impact that it'll have on the city that Griffin has alluded to.
Thank you, Trey. Thank you, Griffin, as well. I appreciate the opportunity to address the committee members. I'm Patrick Jackson, CEO of Novu Residential Group. We're a Birmingham-based multifamily and investment development firm. We're on 2nd Avenue North, headquartered here, so all Birmingham people. And like Trey said, I've got Matt and Tony here with me, so our corporate offices are here. We're excited about this project. Obviously, we have a vested interest here in the Birmingham community. We live here, we work here. The Parkside area has continued to see growth. As Griffin mentioned, this has been an eyesore for a long time on 65, the Sherman concrete plant. We're excited because we get to not only beautify that area, to really change and reshape the skyline, but also keep some of the historical significance by keeping the existing silos that are on the site right now and repurpose those with some type of mural or art or light art. And so we're excited about that. Like Griffin said, 315 units. This is one of the largest acreage sites in the downtown area, so it really allows us to have an immense amount of green space, which is unusual for any of the other residential housing developments in the area, where everything is up on a podium and there's no interaction between the street level and the amenities. So we're excited about it, and we look forward to continuing the growth story of Parkside, and we really look forward to being a part of that. So that's a little bit about the project, and I'll turn it over to Trey just so he can kind of finish this out.
So Griffin mentioned the property taxes over the project's first 10 years. We anticipate that the city of Birmingham would generate over $6 million, $6.2 million of property taxes, roughly. There's the potential for some commercial retail on the street level space that Griffin mentioned, where we anticipate business license tax of $260,000 over that 10-year period, occupational taxes of nearly $500,000, and sales taxes of $1.4 million based on the pro formas. So all in, over the first 10 years of the project, you're looking at almost $9 million of direct tax benefit that the city can anticipate generating. So this site has a lot of challenges, as you might expect, with the former concrete plant. The environmental cleanup and mitigation costs that the company foresees just to get the site in a development-ready condition are roughly $2 million. We'll have to, erect a parking deck, and then, of course, ever-rising construction costs, inflation costs being at a 40-year high. This brownfield property tax abatement request will go a long way in making this project a reality. Just to kind of set the timeline for you guys, this is our first step on a 5-step process for the brownfield property tax abatement request. I'll go into the Economic Development Committee tomorrow. If you're so inclined, as is the Economic Development Committee, to push this to City Council, we'd hope to go next Tuesday. And then follow that with going to the County Commission for their work session committee meeting with a tax abatement agreement with Jefferson County upon the City of Birmingham's consent, which is how the multifamily development projects have been done in this Parkside area.
Okay. Thank you. Councilor Abbott.
Yes, I was beginning to wonder if this project had fallen by the wayside. It's been such a long time since it came to the 5 Points South neighborhood, I believe it was. But I'm really glad that you're building a parking deck, because parking in that area has just become absolutely impossible. But I was wondering if with 315 units, if 400 was enough.
That's actually a little bit of an old number. While we were kind of in our design site plan, we're actually looking more like 450 to 500 now parking spaces. So one time we were about 4-story deck. Now we're going to be at 4.5 to 5-story deck. So it'll have almost close to 1.5 parking spaces per unit, I guess.
Yeah, that's good, because at Christmas when everybody has a party, everybody's going to want to park their car.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Yeah,
nobody's walking yet.
It'll have sufficient guest parking as well for those residents, but yes, we'll have ample parking for our residents.
Good. That was really my concern. I mean, I had a man write to me the other day and say we should do away with parking requirements because, people could go find a place to park, and I thought, you must not come downtown very often, my dear, because, even around UAB's remote parking, all the on-street parking is taken up by the people who don't want to pay. So there's no place for your people to park if they can't get in your deck. So I'm glad it's grown.
Yes.
Because that seemed kind of tiny. Thank you.
Madam President?
Yes, I'm glad that Councilor Abbott brought up the question about the parking. I'm glad to see you're going to go vertical with that. I know there's been a lot of, I want to say traffic, but a lot of conversation on social media about parking, in particular on the south side. So just glad to see you're taking into account the number of cars you may need to be able to park for the residents and the guests that will be there.
Yeah, and there will also be on-street parking as it goes down Second, so you'll have parallel parking. So we'll obviously improve that entire streetscape right there, including sidewalks and trees and on-site parking, parallel parking on that street on 12th, as well as 2nd Avenue South, which will also include parking.
And I know this is just the beginning of, like you said, BNF and then economic development. There are not any other committees we think this might have to go through. There's no...
It's on economic development for tomorrow, and that's the last hurdle before it goes before council.
All right. Thank you.
Councilor Tate?
Just got a quick question. What's the square footage of the units in 1 bedroom, 2 bedrooms, 3 bedrooms?
Certainly, yeah. So, I mean, average square foot so we'll have studios 1s and 2s. Average for the entire property will be around 925 to 930. So that'll make kind of, studios be around 600, 625. 1 bedrooms be around 750, and then 2 bedrooms about 1100.
Okay.
What would the rent cost be?
So the same thing, studios 1s and 2s. So studios will be, I think we're estimating around, $1,450 to $1,500, and then 2 bedrooms would be, somewhere around, $2,200 to $2,300.
Okay.
Market consistent with, the other properties in that downtown
Gotcha.
submarket.
Would utilities be included?
No.
No. Okay. All right. Well, do you have another question? Okay. Well, if there are any questions, there's been a motion and a second. All in favor say aye. Aye. The aye passes. Thank you.
Yeah.
And then our last item is actually supposed to be marked item 28. Is a resolution authorizing the mayor to execute an agreement with Alabama State University, ASU, and Alabama Architectural and Mechanical University, A&M, under which ASU and A&M shall host the Magic City Classic football game, the Magic City Classic, for 4 years at Legion Field Stadium. The Magic City Classic is expected to bring college athletics, numerous fans, guests, and visitors from outside the city, which will create and foster community pride while providing recreation and entertainment opportunities for attendees, bring jobs, and have a positive economic impact for the city. For ASU and A&M hosting the Magic City Classic game at Legion Field, the city will provide incentives not to exceed $1 million each year in accordance with Amendment Number 772.
Move the item.
Second.
Yes. Mayor Wolfram sends his regards for not being able to come to this meeting to speak on it, so he sent me. So you have me to speak on it. Before the council is just our agreement that we have been in negotiations with both presidents of Alabama State and Alabama A&M to keep the Magic City Classic in Birmingham for the next 4 years. Right now, as the agreement ended at the conclusion of the game a couple weeks ago, each school was given $400,000 of cash to both schools respectively to basically come to our stadium and play in our stadium. So what we have before the council now is to increase in that amount that will be spread, well, not spread, but it's $500,000 per school for the next 4 years, so concluding in 2026 to play the games at Legion Field for the Magic City Classic. So everything that's in the actual agreement are pretty much carbon copies of everything that has already been agreed upon, from transportation to in-kind services for police and fire and EMS. And like I said, the only changes is just the financial contribution to both schools.
Okay. Well, Madam President, do you have any questions?
No, I didn't, other than just that this is, as you said, this agreement, the change is the amount of money that will be going to both of the
That's
schools, correct?
Yes. And so just the previous contract had a escalator in it for it went up every year around $50,000. So we agreed with the president just to make it just a standard flat rate of $500,000 per year per school.
All right, thank you.
Okay. Councilor Abbott?
Yeah, I'm interested in knowing if the city has ever figured out how to determine the economic impact of the Classic just for the city of Birmingham rather than the MSA.
Right. So right now we actually, IEO is using one of their teammates, Michael Shattuck, is actually working on that number as we speak to kind of finalize what the impact is just for Birmingham and not the metro area. So we're waiting on him to kind of conclude his analysis of what he noticed and what the impact is from the stores, the sales tax, the use tax, and the lodging tax on just that value, what Birmingham direct impact. So as soon as he gets that completed, we would definitely share that with the council. And it's our hope that it's rewarding that. I know a number has always been thrown out there around $26 million, but I think we're comfortable in saying that at least $19 million of that is Birmingham impact.
Well, that's good because we've never gotten a straight answer.
Yeah, I think that's why we try to do our due diligence and let somebody in-house figure out what's Birmingham's impact and not just the county.
Yeah, because I know we used to get it from the Convention and Visitors Bureau, but they
look at it holistically.
for everybody, not just us. So, okay, thank you.
Councilor Tate.
I'm excited that we are 4 more years going, but I really want to see, like, what can we do as a city to make some improvements to Legion Field, like, to attract more, to the stadium besides the Magic City Classic.
Yeah, I can kind of speak on that because the council, this was before you, Councilor Tate, the council approved around $1 million to get input or financial impact into the stadium, where if you notice that the lights at Legion Field are now LED upgraded lights. The field that they play on, the field is a FIFA certified soccer field that, a lot of stadiums around this country does not have that type of field. Ms. Bennett and her team have made just, some small upgrades within the restrooms and just to make it comfortable. The yellow seats, as they're called, up in the stands are more, we had to replace all those seats because they now have backs on them and recliners and cup holders. So there's certain, upgrades that we're trying to do. We understand, I think, right now, in speaking with Ms. Bennett, she has a proposal possibly of adding paint, just changing the paint of Legion Field, which, as they say, it's putting lipstick on a pig, but I think it's probably needed at this point with the old gray ladies kind of chipping away right now. So I think right now we're trying to do impactful things to try and get more events to Legion Field and the surrounding area around it, like the Barbecue and Blues Festival that was outside Legion Field. So we're trying to be more forward thinking of what we can do at Legion Field.
Yeah, of course, we had a chance, me and Madam President had an opportunity to, be a part of the Barbecue and Blues and judging the barbecue. So that was really a hit. So like really just reimagining, like what other stuff that we can attract there, because, it is a staple for the community. So we really want to, try to accommodate Ms. Bennett as much as we can, like upgrading, painting. Yeah.
And I think to just add another note, when we held the World Games for flag football, that did put us on a different level with partners like the NFL that are still looking at interest in doing certain things at Legion Field. So we're working on things in the background to make it more attractive.
And I attended that flag football every last game pretty much. But thank you, Chief Mitchell, for the update.
Okay. Councilor Abbott.
Yeah, so back to our turf that we just finished installing in that stadium, are we thinking about taking it out?
Oh, no. So the field that they're playing on now is only probably 3-4 years old. So that is FIFA certified turf. And,
so nobody's complaining about
it? Oh, no. Okay. I will say it's one of a kind that a lot of stadiums don't have, that are newer stadiums. It's either they have grass or certified turf, and we have certified turf that we can go out and get certain events, like a USA soccer team can come and play on that field.
Well, after we paint Legion Field, because structural steel does rust if you don't keep a coat of paint on it, then we could light it the way we've lit under the interstate and different buildings and things, and make it look better. It won't be beautiful, but it'll be better. Light fixes everything.
If you notice, the entire infrastructure is now LED lights that we never had, because we had the old school bulbs where you go and kind of like turn them around and pop them in. But no, these are now LED lights that should last for a very long time. So, like I said, I think we're making certain modifications to Legion Field to make it more reasonable for future events.
Okay, thank you.
Well, I'm excited that, the administration was able to keep the Classic not only in the city, but at Legion Field. So that's one less worry for us. All right, well, if there are any more questions, if there's been a motion and a second, all in favor say aye. Aye, that item passes. We don't have any old and new business, so the next Budget and Finance Committee meeting will be on Monday, November 28th, 2022 at 3:30 p.m. here in the council chambers. And a small correction due to the holiday submissions will be due this Monday by 5 p.m. Is there a motion for adjournment?
Move for adjournment.
Second.
All in favor?